Hello, dear friends. Today I have fantastic guests, very important person in my life, great choreographer, great teacher, amazing person, Sir Ben Stevenson. Hello, Ben. I'm so happy you found the time to talk to me. Even we are so far away, I'm so happy to see you always. And we remember our wonderful time we spent together. Thank you for this fantastic time you gave me when you was directing Houston Ballet. So it was my one of first ballet. Some choreographer stage for me, Snow Maiden. We worked together. I mean, lots of memories I have. And I just want to ask you a few questions, what I'm always interesting. And you know, we don't have time to talk because you're always busy. Was the other side of ocean, let's say like this. And thank you to have with me today. And my question is, please, could you just say to us, what was Royal Ballet from beginning? And how you start your life career? And who is Ben Stevenson? Who was your family? How important was your family? How you became dancer with beautiful feet? how it happens in your life?
Well, I'm very lucky to have a family that were very supportive, because when I was being old now, I'm in my 80s now. So when I started dancing in England, you could not tell anyone you were a dancer as a boy, as you'd been beaten up and hit over the head. So you had to keep it a secret. But I started dancing because I had a problem with my right knee and my foot would roll in. So I had to wear a little steel support in my shoe. So when I went to the doctor said to me, you should take ballet lessons because the turnout will help cure that rolling in of the foot. So I was not very thrilled at the thought of going to a ballet school because I thought, oh, how awful. But anyway, my mother took me to a few schools and I wouldn't join in. And then she took me to a school that had 2 or 3 little boys in. So I joined in there. And then so I started. Then after a few years, it cured my knee, but also I began to love it. She was a fun teacher. And this was in my hometown of Portsmouth. And so then Anton Dolin and Alicia Markova, they had a company called the Markova Dolin Company. They were touring. And so there was a master class I went to, and I was about 14. And so Anton Dolin contacted the Arts Education School in London, and I was given a government grant to go and study in London. So I went to study in London. And then I took my RAD exams, and I was fortunate enough to win the Adeline Shinning Gold Medal, which is the highest award you can win at the Academy. Through that, I worked with the Sadlerswell Opera Ballet, which Peter Wright was the director of. And from that, I got into the Royal Ballet. And I left the Royal Ballet, joined the English National Ballet, which was then the Festival Ballet, had a horse riding accident, became a balletmaster, and then Beryl Gray took over the company. She wanted her own balletmaster, so she booted me out of the company. And then I didn't know what to do. So a friend of mine in New York said, come over here for a couple of weeks. So I went over for a couple of weeks. I was asked to teach a class at the High School of Performing Arts. There was a student there from the Harkness Ballet, and he went back and told the Harkness Ballet he liked my class. They invited me to teach. Rebecca Harkness watched the class, and I was asked if I would be artistic director of the Harkness Youth Dancers. So that was how I came for 2 weeks and never went back. So now I've been 50 years in America. 27 years actually in Houston, 17 years now in Fort Worth. 27 years in Houston, I retired thinking I was going to the rocking chair with vodka and Nina wine. But I was asked if I'd come here and take over for a while and help them find a director. Then they said, well, why don't you take over for a couple of years? So I'm 17 years here. and still direct. I'm so lucky to still be working, doing something I love doing. So, and I love talking to you, Nina, and I love you and how fabulous you are.
Ben, thank you so much. This is your long life story. You say really short. And I know you have fantastic humor. And I always say to you, you must write in all these jokes, what you say. I remember this, we still talking and laughing. Tell me, please, you know great people in the world, in the ballet world. So you just say Anthony Doll, you say Alicia Markova. I know you were so friendly with Margot Fontaine. What you can say about these great people? What kind of relationship you have with them? Are there was always prima donna and like, you know, you can go close to them? Or they was very friendly? What kind of people they were?
Well, I had a terrifying experience with Alicia Markova because she was 46 years old. I was 18. And I partnered her in a ballet called Where the Rainbow Ends when I was still a student. And there was a production they did every Christmas called Where the Rainbow Ends. In the Rainbow Ends, there was a 20-minute ballet, and Alicia Markova, Spirit of the Lake. And David Howard, who became a very famous teacher in New York, David and I were roommates, and we both, as terrified students, partnered her. And so she would not let us touch her. She would come in a beautiful black dress and pearls and high heels. Don't touch my dress, she'd say. And so we had sort of, we were terrible partners. And so only a few days before the dress rehearsal, she would come in the practice dress. And then we had to partner her. And of course, she didn't jump. We had to go, and you sort of got used to the rhythm she gave at the end. But that was terrifying. But she was quite nice to us. And then years later, when I went with the Houston Ballet to London, she was very sweet and very nice, and she'd calmed down a lot. Margot was fabulous. And Margot would come to class every day. I never saw Alicia Markova in class. I think she had a brandy and a radiator before the performance. But Margot was amazing. She would come to class every day, and a wonderful lady. And I loved her. And of course, she spent her last years in Houston, in the hospital, in the cancer hospital. And so I saw a lot of her at the end, which was so sad. I thought she would live forever because she didn't drink, she didn't smoke. You thought she'd gone forever. But she was an amazing lady because she was not like high extension and all that. But she did have a sort of purity of line and dance, which she was beautiful.
She was very feminine. I always love to watch. Even now, I'm so sad I don't have chance in my life to see her or meet her. But especially, I always dream to dance Margarita and Armand Ashton's one because I see her and Rudy Nureyev dance together, and I never thought it's possible because we was like Soviet and it was impossible. Yeah. And then I was so happy when I was dancing in Royal Ballet Firebird. I really watch her every time, and I learned so much from her. This is all details, eyes, and everything, how she uses. So it's incredible. I really like it. Watch today, even I'm just like watching different ballerinas, and I love Margot really much. It's my feeling like she's one of my favorite person in the world. I can watch and learn so much from her. And I remember a lot of things you say about her, so how wonderful person she was. This is, I think, really important.
What was amazing, you know, when I was a student, Tamara Kasavina was my mime teacher. You think she was the original Firebird?
Yes, yes, yes. And I heard from Monica Messen, so Karsavina was teaching her Firebird because she was the ballerina who danced this original version.
Margot said, she said one thing to her that gave her the clue to the ballet. And she said to Margot, "Bird has no human emotion."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
she said she was making love to the prince and everything. But she said when she said And she said she put her hand like a claw.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. Yes,
Bird.
this is, yes, so she can eat because this is very important. Ben, now, I mean, it's amazing. You are really became very quickly, and you creative Houston Ballet like it was your time, and now definitely. So nobody knows what is the Houston Ballet. And I remember when I came to Houston, you invited me after New York ABT, my season, and I thought, oh my God, I'm so tired, how I can go there. And you invited me to see your Sleeping Beauty because you have other things in the mind. And when I went to Houston, really, really tired after flight, after everything, and I saw your production and your company's level, I thought I'm watching Royal Ballet in the best time. It was my feeling. And that time was Carlos Acosta dancing with Jenny. And of course, immediately, I love you so much because we see each other in Norway before. And I say, Ben, of course I come to dance, and of course I love to work with you. And what was it so difficult in America to create a company? What was resource? How you take it people? They come from your school, your creative school there too. How you find it, these people? How you teach them?
Well, I think it's a school is important with the company because it teaches a sort of style. But I did also find people like Li Tuan Sing, the Chinese dancer, Carlos Acosta. There were people that came. I found Janie Parker in Switzerland because Balanchine had a company in Switzerland as well. And so I found her there and she came to me. So there were people I did get from outside. Lauren Anderson was 10 years old when I went to the company. So there were people that were very young that came up through the school and through the company. But I just think it's very important to have good teachers and also good productions, good choreographers too. I think all those things help with a good company. And so I had terrific people. You know, Kenneth McMillan became my associate director. Kenneth was one of my dearest friends. I love Kenneth so much. And Christopher Bruce and people like that, they came in and different styles were taught. And so it sort of molded the company, I think. And I'm lucky enough to have the same thing here in Fort Worth with my company here.
And Ben, I think this is very interesting. So in your time, England, the ballet was quite young. I mean, not like in Russia or in Paris or some other European country, but how London created so many great choreographers. Look at these names, right? Cranko, Ashton, Macmillan, you. What was different? Why so many great choreographers comes from London?
They've done the same thing now, the Royal Ballet. They have Christopher Wheeldon and Liam Scarlett and different people in London that are coming out of the Royal Ballet. I think choreographers have to have an opportunity. You can't choreograph unless you choreograph, you know, so that's a good opportunity. I remember when I was with the Festival Ballet, I arranged the first choreographic workshop and no one wanted to choreograph. It was so difficult just to find 3 people to do something. Now everyone wants to choreograph. And it's not possible for everyone to choreograph, unfortunately. I wish it was. So, but choreographers are very important to find good choreographers. And so we have choreographic workshops here when we try and give the dancers an opportunity to do things, and find new choreographers, bringing them in. It's important to have world premieres because it gives your company a face, I think. Mm-hmm. And if you have 2 or 3 choreographers that are your own, they can do ballets elsewhere. But if you have 2 or 3 choreographers that are your resident choreographers, then those works are yours and no one else has them. So if you go somewhere, no one else has those works. If they're good, then it's fabulous. For instance, when the Stuttgart Ballet first came to New York, we didn't know who the Stuttgart Ballet was. And people didn't know then in New York really much about John Cranko or Marcia Heidi. But when they opened with Onegin in New York with Marcia Heidi, it was huge hit. And it became an international company overnight, just from opening in New York with a brilliant choreographer and a great ballerina. So it shows how important it is to have great choreography to show up your company, you know.
Ben, 1 second, because in my time it comes really dark, so maybe I just put it light. So wait a few seconds and I will be back for you, okay? So sorry, Ben, because we are back because my light was changing, so its sun goes down because of our time difference. What I want to ask you question always, when you creative some ballets, when you have some ideas, when you was artistic and you are artistic director still, what you thinking? Who you have, dancers, or you just have idea and then you look at dancers? So how it works, because you stage a lot of ballets.
I think, well, it doesn't mean what I think is what other people think. I mean, it's just the way I work. I usually do ballets, try and think of something for the dances I have. And for instance, when I had Lauren Anderson, I thought of Cleopatra, because I thought Cleopatra, people thought she could have been a woman of color. So somehow it was good, you know, I thought that. So somehow, it was something that, you know, I thought, and when I had Lee, I thought of Miraculous Mandarin, you know, was the thing. So somehow I try and think of things for the dances I have. Or, you know, if you want to do a swan lake, it's no good doing a swan lake if you don't have a fabulous swan queen, you know, or Chazelle if you don't have a mad woman in the company, you know.
You know, this is amazing. You also do fantastic for young one. I always remember you bring in this young talented dancer from China, from Uruguay, and you always give them possibility to work with you, live with you, helping them, you feed them. This is not very rare we see around the world. So, and I know your experience in China, how much you work there, and do you see how progress they have today? So why you decided to go to China to collect Lee and to go bring them in America?
It was, you know, it was when Mao, Chairman Mao, and Nixon, President Nixon went to China, they opened up China to the West. And it was when, for the first time, East and West opened up. And so they sent a delegation from Columbia University in New York. And Columbia University called me and asked if I'd represent ballet. And because I'd been teaching in Cuba for Alicia Alonso. And so they asked me if I'd had experience in a sort of third world country, as it was. So I thought, yes. And I thought I'd have Chinese food and see the Great Wall or something. But I went to China, and every day, the first day we went to the symphony, then we went to a museum, and then we went to the ballet school. And I was so moved by the ballet school, how poor they were and how all their shoes were patched. It was freezing cold. There was ice on the windows. And the boys were in like little shorts and t-shirts. And I was wrapped up in a coat and all that. And they were incredible. And so it changed my life when I went to China. So at the end of the time I was there, they asked if I would go back and teach again. So I said I would. I was so impressed. And at the same time I said, do they think I could invite 2 of their students to come to our summer school? And so they said yes. And I said, could I, you know, a boy and a girl? And they said, I couldn't invite a boy and a girl. So I said, well, 2 guys then. So they said, well, they'd think about it, but I could not choose who I wanted. So then I got back and they sent 2 boys, Lee and Johnny John, 2 boys came. And then they came for a year, and then of course Lee defected, which caused a lot of problems. The other boy went back. But it wasn't that I just went there to get students. It was that, but anyway, so then I fell in love with China. And I just last year got a huge award from China. It was amazing. And they it's been open 40 years, and they gave 40 award. They gave 40 people this award. The people that helped China most over the last 40 years. Only one person in the arts was me, and I got that award. I was so thrilled with it.
It's amazing, Ben. You know, I also went in China in the 90s. I was dancing there, and then I was back there after 15 years. And nearly every year now, I go to Beijing Academy. I'm teaching there, staging something.
Yeah.
So much change, Ben. You don't believe. They have fantastic studios. How they're dressed. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And improvements, they do really, really big improvements. It's amazing. And possibility and how they're looking, girls and boys today, it's really, really changed. Ben, what else I want to ask you a question, because discipline in the company today, it's important, or you give them freedom, because you know my time was quite strong in Russia, and especially my teacher Marina Semyonova, who was like student in the class. But today, you know, like everybody like dressed like this, so they're calm in these boots, and I'm fighting this in the Georgia, in Tbilisi, so with dancers, like good way. I explain them, and I see you as one person in the West, I see, who really take care of how people come in the class. You continue like this? You are so strong with discipline and with this?
What I do now at the bar, if it's cold and that, if people wear like leg warmers, like woolen things or stuff, I say they can wear them until rond de jambe at the bar. Rond de jambe, they have to take them off.
I just do fondue.
So rond de jambe, they take them off now. But and if it's really freezing, which is not very often freezing in Texas, then they can keep them on. But it's up to the teacher. I say, okay. But no, they're very good. And of course, here, they don't have to do class every day. It's not in their contract. But the dancers do class every day. They're very disciplined, the dancers. Very pleased with them.
This is very important. So I'm thinking if people has discipline inside discipline, they're disciplined everywhere. Doesn't matter what kind of job they are doing, ballet or just other job. This is very important. But sometimes, you know, this is when they're young, especially, I think they needed a little bit strong opinions with teachers.
Yeah.
And also, Ben, you know, I ask a lot of questions to artistic directors and dancers that way. For you, it's important who is teaching class. I mean, for dancers, it's important who is teaching class. Somebody says, oh, no, I don't care. It's just I'm warming up. So when you was dancer, for you, was important who is teaching, or it doesn't matter?
Oh, it was important. For me, it was important. Perhaps I wasn't the best student, though. Now I'm very demanding, but when I was a dancer, I had my favorite teachers who I would work for. And I always liked teachers that had personality. There were some teachers who had incredible knowledge, but were boring. So I would go with Lady Gaga, you know, every time. So I think it's very important for the teacher to have knowledge, but also to have some sort of personality. That's why I think teachers that have had stage experience, that have been ballerinas or principal dancers in a company, I think that helps with teachers. People who've just been to a teaching school, and have never had any stage experience, I don't think have the same background, you know. And of course, I had in London great teachers, and so it was great. And so I had wonderful teachers that I adored.
Yes, because for me, it's really important teacher. And I remember when I was in Houston, so correction what you give to me or the dancer, it was not just about technical correction, but I never see in the West person who really take care about port de bras, about arms, about position, about placements. So I think you was quite unique that way. I don't know how it's now, but it's like, why, Ben, my God, it's more than 20 years, I think, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was really,
I teach so much now. I
it
teach
was my way how I was teaching in the Russian. So they always take care of about details, and you do same thing, and it was really really interesting for me to see that kind of work in the West, and especially in the United States, because
I had a teacher in London called Vera Volkova, who was famous teacher, and so I went to her quite a lot. So she was wonderful, and so she had a lot of detail and that.
And tell me, please, Ben, when you choreograph something, for you, it's music is important.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
So you stage everything first. You listen music and then you stage, or you just like your creatives? Because I see different things. So you creative some steps and then you try to put it in the music.
Sometimes I always have the classical music on in my car. So sometimes I'll hear something in the car and I think, oh, I love that music. I'd love to do something to that. So sometimes I do that. It's very difficult sometimes if you have an idea and then you try and find music to go with it. And I had John Launchbury was someone I worked with for years. He's no longer with us, sadly. He was a genius at that. And so if I had a ballet I wanted to do, like the Snow Maiden, he came up with a Tchaikovsky score and understood the pas de deux, the variations and all that. So he was very, very good at that. So you need someone to do arrangements of existing music, or you take the chance and you find a composer to write music for you, which is sometimes a big challenge. And it's exciting if you can find a new composer to write a score that's going to be fabulous for your ballet, you know.
But this is quite difficult. And today, you know, I'm artistic director, and I can say now it's quite, everything's so expensive, you know. This is very, very difficult for us because especially in Georgia, we are not very rich company. We are government paid, but it's so difficult today. If you want new music, live composer, it's difficult. Then, so sometimes I'm joking, but I ask a choreographer, please, not live composer, because it's so hard to play.
Use dead composers cheaper.
Yeah, but it's so sad sometimes because, you know, this is agencies and this and that. So they don't give us a chance to be a little bit free.
Yeah,
one point.
True.
Ben, tell me, please, what you think, what kind of future ballet has?
What kind of teacher? What?
Future. I mean, ballet. Ballet future.
I think it's it sort of goes up and down. I think, you know, when Marco Van Dolen and the Festival Ballet first went on tour, we do these 13-week tours, and we'd go to a town. We'd open on Monday, Tuesday, 2 shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 shows Saturday, travel on Sunday, open on Monday. The 3-day was the travel day, Sunday. And we sold out every show. They'd be queuing around the theater. It was a very big time. And then the early days, we toured the Royal Ballet, the queues around the theater. And the same, I think, when the Royal Ballet comes to New York or something. But then it seemed to sort of dwindle off. But I think it will come back. And I think what's exciting is that when I was a young dancer, modern dancers were on one side of the room, ballet dancers were on the other. And we all looked to one another as if we were terrible, those stupid people over there. But suddenly ballet and contemporary dance have sort of come together. And so now choreographers sort of have a molding of those things. And I think that's very exciting. I think that also will help give ballet a longer life because it will attract more people. It will attract people who like modern dance and ballet. to come to the same performances. I think opera and ballet, they have to be careful that they have to go on attracting a younger audience, you know, particularly in America, because it's been old money that supported ballet, you know, and opera, because the theater has been supported by these people. Now, the young people have to be brought into the theater because they won't have, you know, there's so much sports and we don't get the support from the government, you know.
Yeah, I think this is big different from Europe and America, because we are mostly, I mean, a lot of theaters in Europe, they're supporting in the government. And I think one point is really good, really good. But same times, I want to say big thank you to America, these supporters, your sponsors. It's amazing. Without them, art will be stopped,
Oh,
you know.
absolutely, absolutely.
And then I'm a little bit also sad about this. So less and less people who want to put money in the art. And we don't want it to forget it. So art is our life, our heart, our feeling. It's not just mechanical machinery, something. We needed this. We needed to have emotion, because you know, when you are sitting and watching some good performances, you are thinking, have some emotional feeling. This is very important. No video, no, nothing same, right? And ballet is today, and with us, something magic happens on stage. Am I right?
Yeah, I think also people don't realize that when you're wearing a dress or a shirt or you're sitting in a chair, all those things have been designed. That's art too, you know. If you're designing furniture or you're designing architecture, it's all part of the arts, really, things we use every day. And this is what we do as an extension, the visual arts or museums or whatever it is. So somehow life would be terrible without art, because we wouldn't have clothes or furniture or anything. So somehow, some people look at the ballet or opera or those things as a luxury, but I think it's a pity that not more people cannot see it. I think we have to make it more visible, because I think it's such a beautiful art form.
Yes, this is, you're absolutely right. I always say, you know, we don't have like ballet channel. Thanks God now we have Mezzo, and Mezzo you can watch a lot of things. But it's like my country, very small country. We don't have that much money to pay some big companies to come down to Georgia to filming our ballet. To, you know, this is so difficult today. Everything about big money to filming, to put it, to selling this. And you know, like sport, they have so many channels, so many this, so many. Maybe one day, at least what I want to do, because I also was so busy, just like 1.5 years I'm stopped dancing. So I want to introduce from my country and from others, this is great people who is around the world, with whom I have something to sharing and something to tell. And I'm so thankful to you, Ben, first, because you give me fantastic my life career, beautiful performances. And thank you to be together with me today, sharing this information with our friends or ballet fans. And I hope so we will come back, because when I put this in the internet, it will be questions, what people want to know about ballet. And one last thing, what you want to say today, this difficult situation to young dancers or ballet lovers, what we need to do, what we're looking for?
I think this is a career you have to love. I think if you love it, then go for it, because I'm still in it because I love it, but I'm not a millionaire. But I've had a wonderful career, and it's something I've started almost 80 years ago. I'm at 7 years old. So somehow it's something you have to love, and it's and don't do it if you don't love it. But I think it's wonderful. I think it's a wonderful career. It's beautiful, and dancers are such fabulous people. I love dancers, and I think I've met so many wonderful people like yourself, and so Margot Fontaine, Markova, all these people, Ulanova, all these people I've met. So somehow I've had a wonderful time. I've had the opportunity to work with Carlos Acosta, who's been one of my dancers, Lee Tuan Singh, so somehow I've been a very lucky person, and I wouldn't have been this lucky if I hadn't been a dancer. And so, but I think it's important. Also, I've been very lucky in America because I've been supported by amazing people, our board and our audience members. So somehow I've been incredibly fortunate. And so I should thank everyone that has helped me over the years.
Ben, thank you so much. You have support because you are a wonderful person and you really work hard all your life. And how you are sharing your love with young one, it's amazing. And I'm learned from you a lot of things. When I was not worried, so am I taking this job to know? I know you really went to Georgia. You come here. You helped me, and I hope so. When everything goes well, you will come back to Tbilisi to stage something for us.
I want to come back.
I love to see you in Tbilisi, in my house, my guest personally.
I have one funny memory there. I have a funny memory. You probably may not remember it. You took me to a beautiful church. It's very old, like 1,000 years old. And we went inside, and there was a priest with a hat on, and there were the people around him. And suddenly the phone rang. And we all looked around like that, and it was the priest's phone. And he got on the phone, and I said, oh, he must be speaking to God. And you were furious, I remember.
We have a lot of memories we can share with our friends. Thank you so much to be with me today. And good luck, be healthy, take care of yourself, and very soon I love to see you in Georgia. Thank you, Ben.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.